In this lesson, we'll finish laying out our walkways and parking. Alright, so now let's get some more important dimensions in place here. We can actually start drawing some of our stuff in, and we can work with our references a little bit later. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my tool here, and what we can do is we could just start drawing in over our references all these areas. And what that's going to do is going to create that nice space that's going to be different from this area. So we can just keep this going all the way around here. Do that for that side. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Gets that corner taken care of. And let's jump to this corner. So we'll go there to our middle, and we'll close that off. And I'm going to double check to make sure that's a nice surface as well. So far so good. So now we can finish off our parking. Space will be allocated for parking. Same thing for here, here, and here. And you'll notice everything is pretty much orthogonal. I'm following every axis. It just makes working so much easier, and just designing is so much more logical. So now what I want to do is I want to draw a point, and I want to create my sidewalk. So I'm going to kind of let SketchUp find that point for me. It's referencing this spot and that spot. It's helping me find that. So now it's just a matter of clicking and creating the space for our sidewalk, and letting SketchUp snap to all our important points. And you know you're in good shape once you see your lines turn red, green, or whatever axis you're trying to follow. So now this means we have our sidewalk in place, I have my parking in place, and I have my corners for my sight triangles here. So last but not least, let's go ahead and get the basic outline for our entrances in place. So we're basically setting up our grids by 10s. If you needed to, we can adjust it to 5. We haven't set the grid in place yet, so it's really up in the air. But once we decide on the placement of this entrance, we need to keep that in mind, 5 or 10s. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my tool here, and we're going to measure basically from this point here all on over to here. And I want to basically measure it to this point here and see what that gets me. So I know if I go 90 feet, I can hit that end, and that's going from that side. But if I'm coming from this side, in order for me to get close to this end, I'm going to have to hit about 140. So what we could do is from there we could type in 140 feet. And from this end I'll type in 90 feet. Now it's just a matter of getting a few lines drawn and finishing that off in just a moment. Well, I'm going to scroll in here, and I'm going to take a look at our model here. Now, you know we're working with a conceptual model, so a lot of times what happens when you're creating these small prototypes is a little bit of imperfections happen. And you want to kind of clean it up while you can before it gets too late in the process. So how I caught this was I know we're going to have to actually close this opening off, but when I scroll in, I could see some issues with my geometry. So let's go ahead and take care of that really quickly, or as fast as we can, and just clean this model up just a bit more so we can kind of be consistent. So I'm just going to grab that first piece and move it up here, and I'm going to grab this corner. And this corner needs to align with this corner. And we're just going to do the same thing, moving all the way up. So select your guy, hit move, move into where you can see this corner, grab the corner, and snap into place. Easy as that. It's a little tedious, but this is kind of one of the things you run into when you're working in a conceptual phase here. So a lot of the little bugs and perfection hasn't been worked out yet. So it'll be up to us to kind of figure that out along the way. So let's go ahead and move one more time. We'll move this guy. Actually, not one more time. We're going to do it several more times here. Grab our top portion, hit move, grab anywhere, grab the corner, and place on this corner. So that takes care of this side, and it's going to clean up our join here in the middle in just a minute. So now let's start again on the bottom down here. So looks like we're pretty good shape, but we need to line this one there. So let's grab this bottom one. We'll grab its corner, and we'll line it with this corner. So now it creates that nice clean seam, which will eventually affect how our entryway will look, and we don't want to have a messy entryway. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do the same thing we've been doing. Grab, move, corner to corner. Grab, move, corner to corner. A couple more to do here, or actually 3 more. So we'll grab it, we'll move it, grab this corner, and grab that corner. So the last 2 here, grab the corner, align with corner. Last but not least, our last section, we'll grab it, move it, corner to corner. So now we'll have this clean seam. So let's go ahead and clear out of this. Let's grab our pen tool and let's clear off this entryway here. So we'll go a line here. We want to make sure we're following that red axis. We'll blast it up there. You can see we're kind of off here as well. So what we could probably do is maybe decide on a distance from our midpoint here. So the initial measurements might not work too well for us. So I want to know I want my entryway to be 12 feet wide. So we could say 6 feet in this direction. And then we'll do a line 6 feet in this direction. I don't even know if that first line caught. Let's try and see if it did here. Yep, it did. So okay, we do another line here. We'll go from this here, and we'll go 6 feet as well. So this should give us a nice 12-foot walkway here. And then we'll just basically shoot off the walkway to a line here and to there. So what this should do is it should create a space for us that we can manipulate a little bit later. And that's exactly what it did. So we're going to do the same thing here. We'll go from, there should have been an end point there, but there wasn't. There it is. So we'll go from here to there, and we'll close it off, and that should have created another surface. And we can get rid of this midpoint now. So now we have this entryway that's actually going to lead up into our model here. So we can come in here and get rid of these little guys here so we don't have anything extra floating around causing any confusion. So now we have pretty much all our main elements in place. Now what we can go ahead and do is we can get rid of anything we really don't need. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this element. I really don't need that. So now it's just about push-pulling things. So the main reason for doing this was to create separating our surfaces. So we don't know the difference between green space, concrete, walk space, and parking. But also curbs. We're going to take into account curb. So a lot of our surface parking or parking here is actually going to be 6 inches lower than this surface. So that's another reason why we did what we did. So before we finish off, I'm going to go ahead and grab this element, our building, and let's move it up 6 inches on the green axis or the blue axis so that we can account for the distance for our curb height. So we'll say 6, enter, and that should take care of that. So now we can go ahead and push-pull up, push-pull all the elements that need to be connected properly. So first thing to go is going to be this surface here. I'm going to go ahead and push-pull that. 6. Same thing here for our sidewalks. 6. I'm going to do the same thing here for my corner. 6. And this corner. 6. As well as this corner, 6 inches. And then, last but not least, this corner, 6 inches. So this walkway will actually be flush with the terrain here. So, but the main thing is we'll have our parking will actually be recessed. So now that we have that in place, basic formation for our walking and our parking area. In the next lesson, we'll go ahead and get our curbs in place, and we'll kind of go from there, and then we'll start working with terrain. So I'll meet you in the next lesson.